Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to do a video review, but it's not of my gameplay this time. It's actually of my teammate Lifeline here, who his name's Freddy. He did a great job in this overall. There's a couple things working up to it that I want to talk about that I don't think would necessarily apply in this particular fight, but I think that it shows the importance of doing it when you do have the option. And then working in his 1v3 to win the game, I think that there was a lot of great uses of cover. He had really good controlled pushes and kept the dynamics moving in the fight. And he kind of did a couple specialty things too. Of course, he used height. So let's get into it here. So first things first, let's talk about what just happened here. Okay, so what we saw was about 10 seconds of healing, and that happened between both Josh and Freddy here. So they had to do this because if we go back here real quick, sorry for scrolling so much. We look at this spot here, we can see that it's just a terribly hot zone. Right after I die, they go right into shooting down into the stairwell, trying to finish off Josh before the res happens. And there was an arc star that happened right on this box just before that. He's doing a great job body blocking for Schwa so he can actually get up. But this is a great scenario to outline why it's important to be able to get somebody up and on shields quickly. So we know that there's a death box here, the death box here, there's a death box at the bottom of the stairs, plus mine up here. So if possible, which maybe it would have been possible early on here, let me get rid of those, but I really don't think so, is as Lifeline is coming down, and I guess he has an empty shield, so it would not be possible at all in this scenario. But if you had a shield, being able to drop your shield right there, right after you get the Lifeline res, and then going to one of these boxes that we talked about, and being able to get a shield swap, Lifeline taking a shield swap, that would have allowed Schwa to instantly have, you know, anywhere between 50 and 100 extra health right away. And that's a really big deal because, I mean, it takes about 10 seconds for them to get their heals off afterwards. Again, it doesn't look like it was applicable in this situation, but I mean, that's how helpful it would be, is it saves you all this 10 seconds. And by the way, during this 10 seconds, they're fighting right above him. There's two teams left other than us, and he could have potentially been able to get in there and make it a little bit more unfair for either team and more fair for them since they're down a player. So just some food for thought on shield dropping and making sure you're maximizing your potentials. Now, one other thing that we work in as we work into this 3v1 or 1v3, sorry, is knowing your last point of cover. This spot is actually a really good head glitch. He knows that they're over in this direction here because Josh called out that they're fighting there, and you can see that Josh lost pretty much all his health, so he's taken some heavy damage from the last team, right? So just a couple quick glances at the screen in those locations should tell you that, you know, you're having an uphill battle. So knowing your last point of cover right here, good head glitch here, and then this structure here is your last point of cover as you go out into this open area. Now, I don't know if he knows exactly where they are, but again, he knows they're over here somewhere. So as he's, you know, trying to scout out the area, boom, we have a target up here, and then this is right where that last point of cover is important. Let's say this person wasn't looking this direction, and she's looking this direction because her spikes went off, and so she thinks that the enemy is closer to this cover, which works out great for him. He gets some free damage on this catalyst, barely takes any damage really. I mean, I guess 75, 90, whatever, somewhere in there, but not enough to really be concerned. If it went down into flesh, knowing that last point of cover over back by the stairs might have been really important to be able to get back to and reset again. But in this case, he's able to push forward. Now, something that's important to note is he tries to reload his guns, which is good, as you should, but this animation doesn't finish, and that'll be an important piece later. So we'll move forward, he reloads his guns, takes height immediately. And this is an awesome example of good use of height. So he is way back here on the height, but he can still see this guy. Anyone who is in any of this area here is going to have a hard time hitting him because he's standing right here. Now, if they were behind, you know, cover over here or any of that area, that would be a little troublesome for him. and I would anticipate that he would drop off and use the cover on this side of it instead of using top cover. There's always the possibility that you can use this as cover, but it's got so many holes, and anytime you use a vertical piece of cover like this, vertical standing, whenever you're poking out from it, you're gonna have half your body exposed. An awesome stick figure, by the way. You can comment down below if you can do better. So try and avoid vertical pieces of cover whenever you have a horizontal piece available. So this again, he maximizes his use of this cover by standing back here, giving him an excellent head glitch on this ledge. That pays dividends right here, as he puts an excellent spray. He puts 120 damage on the enemy and only takes about 30 or 50. So overall, he's putting out at least three times more damage than he's taking. So that's a win right there by itself. Trying not to give any free health to this lifeline. He comes up, tries to finish her off. Great game sense. Sees that there is a Ashe coming up, so he knows this is not a chance where he wants to just push. So again, controlled pushes. He wants to control what he's doing and not just run and punch this lifeline, which I know he probably wanted to do. I've played with him enough that that's what he likes to do. And in most cases, that might have been a good call, but with Ashe right there, not a good call. So he goes back, improves his position, drops his dock. We'll talk about that at the end of this clip. There's a couple good things to note about that. Notice started flesh health, right? So he knows that no shields, good chance that Ashe is going to be a little bit more reserved in playing. Comes up. We call out that she tried to res the teammate, which suggests that the lifeline probably didn't get a lot of health herself. She probably stopped her bat, went and did the res, which is exactly what she did. So finishes off that finally. So now we're down to a 1v2. Great use of cover here, tucking into it because we know there's somebody above, and then anytime you can hug up against an enemy player in this kind of scenario, that's always helpful. I think the enemy player actually got confused on this because as soon as he does a nice little movement out, you can see that Ashe was pointing down this direction. So Ashe has to reacquire her target, and Freddy makes use of that, downs that Ashe. Now this is where that reload comes into play. We can see that the gun animation didn't complete. Now there's some gun animations like the 99 when it reloads, whenever it goes to like cock the gun or rack the slide, that's like a marker in it, and if you don't get that part, when you pull it out again, it'll just do that. But with the Nemesis here, it restarted the entire thing. So he's like, well, that's not good. I'm going to switch back to my gun that actually can reload while using the enemy health drone. Again, we'll talk about that after this, kind of in a separate replay. Does some decent movement there, is using that health drone and takes out that last little bit of health from the catalyst. Really good job using height, controlled pushes, and using some tactics such as that health drone. Now that health drone back there, I went way too far. Let me show you how important that health drone was. So dropping this health drone, and he's coaching me up on this, by the way. He's a pretty decent lifeline. Actually, he's a really good lifeline, and I'm learning quite a bit from him. So this health drone, watch how much health it gives him. Just by dropping it early and knowing to drop early and often, it almost gives him a full syringe worth of health. So that basically negates that round that he just took right here. It basically negates that. Then whenever he comes up here and he's using this health drone, so he gets attached to it, gets just a little bit, takes a pretty heavy hit from probably a Peacekeeper, 36 damage if I had to guess, from the Peacekeeper. And then we see that he gets attached to it again. Notice how low his health is at that point, maybe like 25. And then it charges all the way up, just watching the health, charges almost all the way up back to 50. And that basically saved him, because if he didn't have that health drone, he would have died with that shot. We see it again where it starts charging him up again, and right before the game ends, you see that he took another hit and is literally a fart from death. So these health drones are absolutely an essential piece to this win. Drop them early, drop them often, and you'll be more successful. Now, because we've just been stop motioning this, let's watch the fun part and see it all in action to see how it worked out. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm just gonna let this play through. Make sure to use your height, cover, and controlled pushes in your game, and you will be more successful.